Hi, I'm Minnesota debt attorney Andrew Walker. This video will show you how to get the actual papers filed against you in court. In Minnesota, you can look up for free most documents that were filed into a lawsuit. If you have questions about whether this debt is fair or not, then this website is the place to start. Now make sure to uncheck the boxes for criminal, family, and probate or mental health. The search results, the best way to search is by name, because after all, you already know your name, but maybe you don't know the case number of any lawsuits started against you. So I'm going to search somebody called Donald Walker. We want to search a person. There are moments where you might want to search a business or an attorney. And then you leave it at statewide and case status all. Sometimes people get sued in different counties than the one they live in. And then click find. And it will bring up any judgments against people named Donald Walker. The lawsuits, as you might notice, are organized by name. So it's possible that if you have a common name, there will be other lawsuits against other people with the same name as you that aren't yours. This is very confusing, I know. It would be nice if you could sort by social security number, but the court system isn't set up that way. So here, we're going to look at this one. You can see Mr. Walker has a few judgments against him. We've got LVNV funding, we've got Capital One, we've got Range Credit Bureau, and two with Range Credit Bureau, and Cavalry SPV1, and some other things too. We're going to look at this most recent one, LVNV funding. So first thing you do is select a case, and then you're going to want to look for a document called summons and complaint. Summons and complaint is the first thing that is filed in a lawsuit. That's where the company suing you explains why they feel that they should have a judgment against you. In this case, LVNV funding is the company suing him. They're a debt collector that buys debts from credit card companies or sometimes utilities or landlords and things like that, then tries to sue people and turn a profit. The first couple pages are called the summons. Here they tell you how long you have to respond if you want to try and fight the judgment. The court system expects people to fight the judgments right at the beginning before they get entered, which can be difficult because often it's very hard to know what is happening and you only have 20 days to start fighting it, although there are later moments where you can jump in and continue to fight it. And it also tells you the name of the law firm that is suing on behalf of LVNV funding. The next part is called the complaint. The complaint is where the lawyer says why the defendant, that's the person being sued, owes money to the plaintiff. The plaintiff is the debt collector that bought the debt, or sometimes original creditors like Capital One or Discover Bank will sue people also. In this case, it's a little over $1,600 for a credit card with Credit One Bank, and then they often attach some proof of why the debt's valid. I've looked at this one before, and all they have is a credit card agreement. It's not actually personalized to the defendant here and doesn't have their name or signature on it. Which you might find surprising. I'm sure if we were to ask the law firm that was suing the defendant here, then that law firm would say that they left that stuff off to protect from identity theft, because after all, anybody can use this site for free. To me, it doesn't seem quite fair that they don't have to prove that the debt is there. They just write here, oh, he owes us $1,600, and here's a boilerplate contract with nobody signing it. But that's the way that the system, the court system works. The next thing to look at is called the affidavit. At least this will tell you where the debt came from and why they feel you owe them money and how much it was before attorney's fees and interest. Another useful thing to look at is the affidavit of service. This says how the debt collection lawyer told you that you were being sued. In America, you have to tell someone that you are suing them before anything else can happen in a lawsuit. Telling someone that you are suing them is called serving the person. The affidavit of service is someone's sworn statement under penalty of perjury about what they did to locate you and tell you about the lawsuit. For district court, and this one is in district court, you can tell that because the court number has a CV. The CV stands for civil. They're required to serve you by handing a summons and complaint to a responsible looking person at your last known address. Now be careful, mistakes happen here. If you never lived at the address on the affidavit of service, then call me right away. I can win you some damages, and they even have to pay my attorney's fees, so it won't cost you anything. Now here you can see they served Mr. Walker at County Road 116 in International Falls by handing the summons and complaint to some Colleen Walker. It must be his wife, or so they state here. That's good enough. So this was successful service, and that's why the court gave the judgment in favor of LVNV funding. If you want to see what the judgment looks like, you can click this button right here next to judgment, and we'll see it on our screen in a second. It'll be for more than that $1,600 because they get to add in some attorney's fees, and interest begins to accrue at 4% per year on judgments. The interest rates change a little bit based on how much the principal of the judgment is and when it was entered. So here's the actual judgment, and look, they got it all the way up to $2,451 with prejudgment interest and costs and disbursements, and now they have a judgment against Mr. Walker. So now we're going to go return to the search results and look at some of these other ones. So there's also Capital One. I want to look at this one down here, though, Range Credit Bureau. You see the case number is a little bit different. It says CO instead of CV. That means it's in conciliation court. Now, serving people in conciliation court is much easier than in district court, because all the time people are like, wait, I was never served. How did this happen? In conciliation court, they can only sue for amounts of $15,000 or less, but to serve you, they don't have to actually hand the paper to you or to someone else who looks responsible. They just have to mail it to your last known address. And you'll see that mailing here in this first thing called the Statement of Claim and Summons. That's usually the first document that gets filed. Let's take a look at that here. So we can see it's that same address, right? Maybe you remember that from the affidavit of service, but it was simply mailed. There's no affidavit of somebody handing it to somebody else, no effort to explain what they did. The Minnesota court system just takes the word of the debt collector and assumes that the mailman delivered it. They don't have to do it certified mail. First class mail is good enough. They don't have to have any proof that the person hasn't moved. It's really quite surprising. So you can see why where they came from, where they reached their numbers here. They did give a little bit of a breakdown for that. Range Credit Bureau did, and sued Don and Colleen again here. You can see they won this transcript of order for judgment in 2019. That means that the conciliation court thought that all these documents were good enough and they should have a judgment. The Range Credit Bureau should have a judgment against the Walkers for a total of $500. Now, one thing where conciliation court is not quite as powerful as district court is, in order, before they can use the judgment to garnish wages or levy bank accounts, they have to transcribe the judgment from conciliation court into district court. And now I just want to show you what that looks like, because you may be wondering why you're getting all these court letters and what's this all about. That's what happened right here. So we can see Range Credit Bureau versus Colleen Walker with a CO case number. That's the conciliation court. And then right up here, the same names with a CV, and down here it says transcript judgment. That means that the Range Credit Bureau moved their judgment from conciliation court into district court, and then a writ of execution. That means that they either garnished his wages or froze his bank account to collect on it. If you want to know more about judgments or see what else can be found about yourself, feel free to call my office, 612-824-4357, or fill out our contact form on this website. We offer a free, no obligation attorney consultation. We will pull these documents for you. Older judgments, they're not always findable, but newer ones they are. We focus on bankruptcy, but we also do debt settlement, and every so often we can bring lawsuits for wrongful debt collection if the paperwork shows that the creditor made an error in their lawsuit against you. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and if nothing else, now you know a little bit more about the way the court system works, and you can at least see where these debts came from and have some basic understanding of who these people are and why they're suing you. Thanks.